sticking around. I appreciate it.
Awesome, man.
Hey, man.
Ottawa.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for having me. Take a seat.
Thanks.
Please. Make
Likewise.
yourself comfortable.
Yes. On our giant white couches.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sure.
So is this your first go-around in Ottawa?
It is. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen too much of it yet, but I mean, it looks really lovely. The buildings are really beautiful, and the canal is really nice.
Yeah, we made that, so we're pretty
You guys
proud.
made that, huh?
It's a man-made canal.
I actually was playing Trivial Pursuit the other day, and it came up with the question, like the biggest skating rink in the world.
Yeah.
And it was here, and I got it right. So.
And that's why you got booked to come to Ottawa. Boom!
Yeah, I had to come and see
Got
it.
the question right. As soon as you get the pie, then you get to go.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Well, it's great to have you here. I'm very happy to be doing this. I'm a big fan of the show. I love the dynamic of it. I love that it started off as you didn't know what it was, because there was a lot of like mystery just as a viewer of like what's going on, like who are these people? Because at first, Bellamy Blake kind of seemed like the villain of the show for a while. Like it just seemed like the bad guy. Like, oh, I can't wait till someone gets him.
Yeah.
And then after a while, like, no, somebody save him. Like it's a good dynamic.
Yeah, it's like that, this show, and I mean, every time like we get a script, you know, all of a sudden you can turn into like the villain or the hero, you know, within one episode. So it's a lot of fun to play with, that's for sure.
It's gotta be, and I think it's a good dynamic watching kind of your character grow from like always trying to make the right decision, but still not quite sure about that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, I think his heart's usually in the right place. I mean, he's a little bit emotional, which lends himself to doing things that are questionable. But as season 4 is going along, I think he's starting to grow into the leader that he wants to be. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great to watch. I mean, I'm fully caught up. I don't know if you guys are. So we're going to try to avoid spoilers for everybody. But so the way we're going to do this is we're going to go questions one side at a time. There's 2 microphones set up over here. You will see them. And then we'll go one person. I'll just kind of direct. Feel free to line up, guys, if you got questions you want to ask.
Yeah, please ask me questions.
I don't know what happened over here, but it was very hilarious. Princess Peach dropped something. I don't know. All right, we're going to start on this side, and we'll get it going.
Hi, it's Kat again.
Hey, Kat.
Fifth time. So my question is, how do you manage to change your voice so much to fit Bellamy?
You know, after 4 years, it's become a lot easier, and it's funny because you know, people ask me that, and when we're shooting, I can definitely kind of just drop into it, but like the idea of doing it now for me is quite daunting because I haven't done it in a while. So I might give it a shot later on, but right now I'm like in my Australian high-pitched. So yeah, to get down there, I have to kind of chill out a little bit, you know. But it's definitely part of the character. It's I've said this before. It's kind of like the same as chucking on his boots and his jacket, and then doing the voice. It's all part of becoming him, and you know, a deviation from me into him. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Right over here.
Hi. How do you think you would fare in an actual post-apocalyptic world?
Not very well. You know.
To be fair, you're Australian. You've dealt with a lot of stuff that could kill
Oh
you.
yeah, we got some nasty things down there. I'm actually like pretty. You know, I surprise myself. Sometimes I'm really cool with all the spiders in Australia, and other times it just gets to me and I can't handle it and I have to leave the room. But me personally dealing with the apocalypse, I guess it depends on who I'm around. You know, if I was at home with my family and you know, I'd definitely do everything to fight for them. But yeah, you know, I'd like to think that I could survive it, but I highly doubt that.
Like a joy to the world.
I haven't got any friends with bunkers or anything like that. Yeah.
Thanks.
At least some practical training from the show's got to help.
Yeah, I'm sure, but it's still acting. Come on, I'm not like tough like those guys. I'm an actor.
This many right away.
Hi. Early in your acting career, you had a lot of struggles. I was wondering if those struggles made you a better actor in any way?
I think any sort of like personal struggle can add to your repertoire as an actor. How you process that and how you think about it and how you use it. You know, in a way, acting is a cathartic thing for me. It's a form of therapy. It's a way for me to kind of deal with my own things. So, I mean, the more life that you've lived, the more that you can probably portray and understand and empathise with. So, you know, you got to keep the struggle and then, you know, see if you can use that in a positive way. And that's not necessarily with acting, but with life. And just try and take away what you can. And then I just try and take that, whatever struggle I've gone through, and then turn it into acting and use it as a commodity. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right over here.
Hi, first off, I love Bellamy. You play him so well. He also, I find, has some of the, like, the best character development in the show. Have you found, like, in your 4 years of playing him that you've kind of taken on characteristics of Bellamy, or in some way find him more relatable or something?
You know, I've always found him to be, very loyal to his family and to, you know, his heart's usually in the right place, and that's something that I've always related to him on, even if he's doing bad things. If anything, I mean, that's where I relate to him the most, but, you know, I've played characters that I've done on TV shows for years, and, you know, eventually, like, you kind of end up melding into the same person and doing the same thing, where Bellamy, I feel, is quite devoid from me as a human being. So, you know, there's obviously intention and feeling and emotions that we both share, but the way in which he articulates it, or doesn't articulate it, are things that are very different from me. But, yeah, we're both thinking, feeling human beings, and he just portrays it in a different way to me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right over here.
Okay, I was wondering which season was your favorite to film and why?
Season 4 is actually my favorite, and I'm not just saying that because it's on. I mean, for a long time it was season 1, and what I liked in season 1 was how headstrong and how, I guess, the bravado of Bellamy in season 1 and really rallying the troops. And, you know, I played a lot of sport when I was growing up, and those kind of speeches that he did reminded me of that kind of environment. So I enjoyed doing season 1, but season 4, there's a subtlety to him that is starting to creep in, and that leadership starting to come back. And I really enjoyed that. And season 4, in a way, reminds me of season 1. I don't really know in what capacity, but I feel I had the same feeling about season 4 as season 1. But yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right over here.
Hey, so just Bellamy and Clark have always been kind of portrayed in the same way as Kane and Abby, in the sense that their relationship represents kind of the head and the heart, where in season 1, Bellamy was very much the heart and emotional, and Clark was the head and she was thinking. And in season 4, we see Clark kind of switch that up, where she's very emotional and she's jumping the gun on a lot of things, and Bellamy's kind of taking a step back and he's thinking about what impact his actions are going to have. Is there, I guess, a personality that you had more fun filming? Was it the Rebel King Bellamy season 1, or the very down-to-earth, thoughtful season 4?
I think, like, both extremes are fun to play. I've really enjoyed his development season 4, because you can see him comprehending and really thinking about it in a pragmatic way. And that's what I like about him now. Like, I mean, yes, he still does really frustrating things, like destroying the water reclamator for Riley. You know? I read the script sometimes and I'm just like, oh my God, what is wrong with you, man? But I like now that he's starting to rationalize things a bit more. And I like that you can start seeing, like, Clark's being a bit more irrational, and that's the way that they're going to be able to support each other and work through with each other. But I mean, after episode 11, I think that's a long road for those two. But I enjoy, like, the brash, bravado guy in season 1, and I also enjoy the more contemplative guy in season 4 as well. So.
Is there one that you relate more to? Are you more like season 1 or season 4?
I mean, I'm a bit of both. I'm pretty irrational, I'm pretty bold, but at times I can be very stoic. And yeah, I mean, they're all avenues of me in a way. I probably prefer it when I'm like stoic and I think things through, because usually when I'm irrational, I have to go around with my tail between my legs apologizing to everyone. So, but you know, that's probably when I'm at my most fun as well, getting myself into trouble. So, you know, swings and roundabouts.
It kind of seems like it goes through almost a progression of going through college or university or something like that. Like you have that freshman year where you're like, yeah, I can do anything. And then fourth semester or like fourth year, you're like, I got exams. We got
when you're about to finish, you're like, oh God, I gotta get a job.
You know, it kind of seems like you're figuring out, like the character's figuring everything out. And you're kind of like, okay, now I get it. Like you've been down there, we've been on Earth for a while now, and you're kind of getting it, and you're kind of getting that groove.
Well, I mean, I'm just really excited for the rest of season 4 and how everyone's going to react. When I was reading it, I didn't think that they were going to go to that extreme, and they do. And I'm just really excited to see how people react and what people think, because I think it's quite insane. Yeah, right over here.
I was just wondering if like you and Eliza are on like the cast ever play pranks on each other or like mess around on set?
You know, like it's everyone always asks about pranks and all that kind of stuff, and in a way, yeah, we do. Not so much hair, it's ridiculous. But I mean, everyone's really professional. When we're on set and we're working, we're trying to do the best job we can. I mean, it's more of the things that we do outside of work, and we all hang out outside of work and just carry on like idiots. But, you know, you spend like 14 hours a day with people for like every day of the week. Like, you end up just going kind of stir crazy, and it just becomes ridiculous. So, I mean, it's probably the conversations that happen in the cast tent or around like the craft table, that kind of stuff, where everyone's just delirious and it's 4 in the morning, and, you know, something as stupid as, you know, tying your shoelaces becomes the funniest thing in the world, you know. So those kind of things happen all the time, but, you know, between action and cut, we definitely try and do our best. Yeah, I think there's only been a few times where pranks have been played, and it's kind of hard to get back into the work mode. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right up here.
Hi, so in the 100 we've had a lot of amazing characters that have come and go, especially dying. I was wondering, what character do you miss the most out of the ones that have died?
Oh, that I miss the most. Well, I think like the characters that I would like to see come back are the ones that are, you know, disruptive or go against the grain, and that's like like Dr. Singh, who was like seemingly super terrible in Mount Weather, Pike, who like would destroy everything. You know, I like the disruptive nature of some characters that come in. Lexa is very polarizing. You know, Lincoln would be great to have around as well. He'd be on that, you know, the peaceful side. But I would also, I think, like the impact of if Wells was still around, like how different Jaha would be like insane, right? He'd be a different guy. So I'd like to see that. Even Finn, you know, to see how Raven would have been, you know, instead of Wick, and how Clark would have handled that as well. So every character that's gone brings something new to the show. But I think like having Wells around would have really shifted things quite a lot. Like I can't even imagine what it would have been like. So maybe Wells, yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Right over here.
Hi, I was wondering, if you could pick any character from the 100, who would it be and why?
I mean, I think Ali would have been pretty cool to play, or Becca. But she's dead, so yeah. I like being on the show. No, on that same token with Jaha, I'd love to play Jaha. He's like this perfect kind of crazy, and that'd be awesome to kind of go into that world, you know. Also, Murphy. Murphy'd be a lot of fun. I mean, how can you know, do any better than Isaiah or Richard? So, you know, they're the guys that are bringing it to life, and they're the things that make me want to play them. Octavia this season would have been rad to play. Yeah, Raven's just like super smart. So I guess if I had to pick one, I think I'd go Jaha. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right over here.
Hi. What are your personal feelings about the ship between Bellamy and Clark?
My personal feelings toward it. I mean, and I've said this before, I understand why people want to see them together. I don't necessarily think like now's the right time for them. I can understand how their unison makes sense to a lot of people. And they usually are really good for each other. But I really feel like, for me personally, and because I really care about Bellamy, I feel like he's got a long way to go within himself before he can kind of look outward for that love. And I think that he needs to, mend bridges with his sister and mend bridges within himself before he can go anywhere near that. So, I mean, my personal prerogative is to develop this character in a way that I think is organic. So, I feel like a politician dodging the Ballard question. But I think that he still needs time to kind of figure out who he is instead of, in order to have a healthy relationship instead of relying solely on another person to fill that void. Thank you.
Take a breather after that one.
My brain hurts.
Right over here.
Just a question about the scenes. So, have there been any moments that you considered out of character for Bellamy, and if so, which ones?
I mean, it's my job to make those scenes that seem uncharacteristic characteristic. So, I mean, if I read something and I go, that doesn't speak to me as Bellamy, I might go to the writers and say, well, what is the intention behind this? And then I have to figure out the rationale, or his rationale behind it. So it's kind of my job to make it make sense. And so in that regard, I do feel like most of the decisions he's made are things that I could probably justify within myself to him. There's nothing there that has been thrown at me yet that I think is terribly out of character, and I'm always trying to fight for a consistency within him, even though he flip-flops on a lot of decisions, and that's who he is. When you have a character that can change so drastically, then nothing really seems out of character,
Yeah, thank you so much.
No worries, thank you.
Hi. So I'm trained to be a teacher, and one of my goals is to hopefully in the future inspire my students. And I was just wondering if there was anyone when you were growing up that particularly inspired you, either personally or professionally.
I'd say my brother. I'm the youngest of four, and he's a very strong, disciplined guy, and he's like quite a good sportsman and quite the academic. So I definitely, looked up to him a lot, and my mum. My inspiration mainly has come from people around me that I aspire to be like. My family are very much my inspiration. But in terms of actors and stuff like that, I really liked Philip Seymour Hoffman and Dustin Hoffman, Scorsese and Woody Allen. I played sport, I love sport, but I didn't really have like posters of them on the wall or anything like that, except for Bruce Lee and Arnold Schwarzenegger. My dad used to own a gym, so it was kind of like, that was the thing that we did. That's
a prerequisite if you have a gym.
Yeah, exactly. But the people that inspired me, my family, mainly.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, thank you. If you want to put a poster up of my brother in your classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't float the children.
Okay, so just one question. Out of the 4 years that you've been playing Bellamy, which character do you think he bonded with the most?
There was that 3-month time jump between, I think, season 2 and 3. And in that time, I would like to think that he bonded with Lincoln. They both had the same
moral fiber?
Not same moral fiber. No, but they both cared for Octavia quite a lot. And I think that he learnt a lot from him. And when we see that time jump in season 3, Bellamy's leading the group around, like helping map things out, and Kane's talking to him in a way that's much more equal. So I think Lincoln had a lot to do with that shift, and unfortunately, Mount Weather happened, and the betrayal happened, and then he went out, sided with Pike. But I would like to think that, he held Lincoln in his heart just as much as Octavia did, and I think that's what hurts him the most about Octavia saying that Bellamy's to blame for Lincoln's death, because, he is, but he was also, his mind was elsewhere, but he was like the only person that could have saved Lincoln on that day. And he'd lost his sister's trust, and by losing her trust, he'd also lost one of his best friends. So I think it was Lincoln. But then again, there's Clark.
To the left, yep.
Hi. So Bellamy is a very inspirational character, especially, to me he is. And so I was just wondering, how has Bellamy as a person sort of inspired you, or what have you learned from him in any way?
When you think about it, like when we shoot the show and they're like, this episode, he's here, and then he's there, and he's doing this, and you go back to the timeline, you're like, wow, this kid hasn't slept for like 4 days. So I guess in a way, when I'm really, really tired, I'm like, I'm method acting, because, he doesn't sleep. That's an inspiration. No, his resilience and his ability to pick himself up and keep going even when everyone's hating on him and, he's done so many things wrong, he doesn't give up and he still persists, and he's still trying to win back his sister's trust, and he's still trying to do what's right for his people, even though he's made some major mistakes. That's one thing that I think is really admirable in him, and, that kind of dogged fight in him is something that I do take with me from time to time, when I'm not that lazy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
So, firstly, thank you for coming to Ottawa.
No worries, thanks.
So one of my favorite things about your portrayal of Bellamy is the nuances of the facial expressions and the body language. So I was wondering how much of that is on page, and how much of that do you get to play around with in terms of blocking?
In terms of blocking, we're pretty free with that stuff. I think like the facial nuances and whatnot, I don't particularly try and do that stuff. It's just something that happens organically, hopefully. I do spend a lot of time at least trying to put about 4 or 5 different intentions into one line, so it will read. I definitely think that when I approach work, it's best to do all the cognitive work, all your line learning, all your intentions, all your overarching motivations prior to work, and so when you get there, it's somehow stored in the back of your head, and then when you get on set, you can do it organically and freely, and that will show through. So, thanks for recognizing that, and it is just a part of putting in layers of work and understanding and emotion. So I'm glad that it shines through for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right over here.
Hi Bob, thanks for being here.
No worries.
I was actually just going to mention when you said before about Wells being a character that you would like to see back in the show, just as an interesting factoid, I was doing some fanfic reading in the break between 3 and 4, and I actually found a small group of people who ship Wells and Raven, who thought that they could have been really good for each other, and I thought that was interesting. Anyway, my actual question, I just thought, for the edification of the group, my actual question is about Bellamy's love of Roman and Greek history and mythology. I'm a major history nerd myself, so thanks for repping us on the show. I was wondering if you had had any exposure to Roman history and Greek mythology before the show, and if not, did it kind of inspire you to read the Iliad or any of that stuff? You know what?
That's probably the one thing about Bellamy that terrifies me, is that he knows all these things, and I'm like, So I'm a fraud. I'm sorry.
So I don't know if you've heard about the Margaret Atwood show that's on Hulu at the moment, The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, that's actually done by Bruce Miller, who is one of the co-creators of The 100, season 1.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, she did another book called The Penelopiad, and it's the story of the Odyssey from the perspective of Penelope, the wife.
Yeah.
And I brought it for you in case you wanted to read it. Can I pass that on to someone?
I've tried to read Atwood, and I find it really hard, actually.
I find her really hard too. She's really depressing, but this one is actually quite readable.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Yeah, I tried to get into Atwood, and I don't know, for some reason, just kind of...
She's very depressing, right?
Yeah.
But this is a little bit different.
Okay, cool.
See
So,
what you think.
are there pictures in it?
It's like short chapters, and there's like sort of lyric poetry in between. But it's pretty cool. See
There's a phone number. That's weird. Awesome.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, this is good. This is something I can do.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead over here.
Hi, I'm sorry I didn't bring you a book, but thank you for coming to visit. I just had a question about the age difference between yourself and your character, and was that a difficult thing to do, to go back into like the teenage years and sort of play Bellamy from a teenage perspective, and I guess too, if you still feel like they have that of that innocence left because what they've been through over the show.
Well, the thing about Bellamy is he's like about 23, 24.
Now.
Yeah, well, in the show, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but initially he was 18-ish, 19?
No, well, he snuck on to the ship. It was his sister who was 17, and he was, like, there was a flashback sequence when he was a teenager, and I think I definitely tried to, brighten him up with a sense of positive future. But then when you do see him, it's the first time you see him is after he's shot Jaha, so, everything's pretty grim. I mean, that was the first time he's actually shot someone, so... Yeah, if I could go back and do that again, I'd probably play him quite differently. But, but like, when we were doing the flashback episode 6, season 1, I was working with a young girl, I think she was 12, and I think I was supposed to be playing, like, 18 or something then. Yeah, so I just kind of figured Bellamy's like 6 years older than Octavia. So he's around the 23, 24 mark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was a little younger.
Yeah, no, I think he's a little bit older, and I think like that's, like, Lincoln was around the same age. But, I mean, even for me as an actor, like, I was 26 playing an 18-year-old and all that kind of stuff, so it's, you have to, I don't know, it's not that I don't have that sense of, that bright-eyed, bushy-tailed kind of idea of the world, but if the character does, then you'll find that within yourself. But yeah, I think Bellamy's always had it pretty tough, other than that one episode where you did see him with a sense of a bright future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There's a little Octavia over here.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
What do you like the most about being on the show?
I think that the show, the cast and crew, the cast are great, and the cast work really hard. And I think we're all there to drive each other to be better actors, to push each other, which is like a nice environment to be in. But the crew are just amazing. They work so hard, and in a way they inspire us actors to not be prima donnas and to get on with the job. Everyone is there as like a family in that show, and we work long hours, and we work all through the winter, and the camera crew are there before we get there, the hair and makeup are there before we get there, and they're like first in, last to leave. So that sense of camaraderie and unity is quite great on the show.
Thank you.
No worries, thank you. And also, I mean, BC is beautiful. It's kind of awesome to turn up to some mountains and be like, this is my office.
Yeah, that's gotta be a tough workplace.
No, it's pretty wild.
It's so rocky.
It's pretty amazing. So yeah. Right over here.
Me again.
Hello.
So my question's a little different. I'm a traveler. I love traveling. I've been to about 25 countries and counting. Wow. So I'm wondering, what is a country you've never been to that you really want to go to, and why?
I do, like, usually when I'm not working as much, I like to rock climb a lot. And there's this type of rock climbing called deep water soloing, and there's some like really amazing cliffs in Croatia that I'd like to go and check out. All along that coastline would be amazing. I haven't been to Africa at all. I'd love to go over there. I haven't been to South America either, so you know, there's just so much to see, but I think I really want to go to Iceland and, you know, see the Northern Lights, and it looks just amazing there, like otherworldly, you know, so I think that's a place I'd like to go to.
I would recommend Croatia. I lived there for 5 months.
Oh, nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah, cool, cool, yeah. So hopefully when I get some time, I'll be able to go and check out those places, but yeah. There's still so much I want to see. I mean, I haven't really seen that much of Australia. I haven't been to like Uluru or anything like that, so I should probably go home and check it out first.
Probably.
Yeah, look in my own backyard. Maybe. Thank you.
Princess Peach, go ahead.
Hi.
Hello.
I do a lot of acting for theater, and whenever I have a big role, I personally need like a half hour to just like get into character.
Just half an hour?
So I was wondering if you had any like rituals that you do before you're on camera to get into your character.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it's a new character, I spend a lot of time like trying to walk around in his shoes and then finding where his like energy sits. You know, I would run through dialogue and different monologues in his voice and then try and figure that out. But I always just try to ground myself and situate yourself in a place that is a reality for that character. And I think you have to be connected to the ground and to the other people in the room. So they're the things that I definitely try and do. I like to go into the room and like touch the walls and feel the place out, and then know that this is a space that I can work in, feel comfortable in as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries, thank you. Right over here.
Hi, sorry if this is a little bit confusing, but if you could imagine Bellamy eventually...
I'm so confused.
If you could imagine eventually having children and raising them...
Wait, him or Bellamy?
Bellamy.
Bellamy, okay.
Or in the future, obviously. If he raised them in a hostile environment that is that Earth, how do you think they would be different growing up than the original 100 generation?
Well, they wouldn't be Sky Crew.
Yeah.
Technically.
Well, I mean, especially in the environment they're in right now with Prime Fire coming through, let's say in this hypothetical world, they're living off the land. That's something that would be totally different. The kids on the Ark are all rationed food and all that, and just living within the system. I think that the children that were brought into this new world would understand the relationship with Mother Nature and being at peace with the world, because, you know, the whole reason it's falling apart is because we destroyed it. So I think there'd be an understanding and this harmonious understanding with the habitat. Bellamy as a father is Yeah, that is confusing, isn't it? That's a confusing question. Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you. My God.
Stuff over here.
Hi, so this question is about this week's episode, so if no one watched that, they probably shouldn't.
I've only seen half of it.
Oh.
The guy, first of all, the guy right next to you has his fingers in his ears.
But, so when Clark didn't shoot Bellamy, when, so, were you surprised?
Find a way to not ruin this for everyone who hasn't seen it.
Was I surprised?
Were you surprised that she didn't shoot him after he said that to stop him, she had to make it a kill shot?
There was a part of him that I think expected her to shoot him. Yeah, on the day it was kind of performed a little differently to the way that it was edited and put on the show, which happens. It happens all the time. I think he was willing to take the chance of being killed because he doesn't want to be down there without his sister. There's no point in his mind to living without her, you know, so I think that he thought Clark has it in her to shoot me. And if that's the case, then so be it, but I would rather die than leave my sister out there. So yeah.
Thank you.
No worries, thank you.
Hope that didn't ruin it for you, sir. Go ahead over here.
Hi. What do you find most challenging about playing Bellamy?
There's a level of intensity with the show, and the stakes are always so high. It's kind of, the hard thing is to be able to like generate that extreme every scene that you're in, and every turn, everything has to be here and now and so important. And you know, when you are really tired and exhausted and all that kind of stuff, sometimes it's hard to like pick yourself up and do that, and to remind yourself that these are life or death decisions. So that intensity and that energy is a hard thing to always bring up. And I love my job, and it's really not that hard in the sense of the world, but in the sense of our world, I should just do my job, right? But yeah, that's a tricky thing, is to always be on the edge of, you know, at the limit of your emotions. That's tough to do, but it's also really rewarding at the same time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we got just over 5 minutes left, so I'm going to try to go rapid fire. Go ahead.
Hi. Given his understanding of the world at the time and his high emotional intelligence and cleverness, what do you think 5-year-old Bellamy dreamt of being when he grew up?
I think it's interesting because I don't know who his father was. I think he would like to imagine that his father was like some sort of leader, and that he would grow up to be one of those guys. I think that his mother would have really pushed that onto him. She was all, you know, they came from like the factory station, or you know, the working station, and they weren't really considered the elite class. I think he grew up thinking that he could be anything. He could be an engineer. He could be like, you know, the lead guard or whatever it was. Yeah, at the age of 5, I think he believed he could have been anything. But you know, the reality was that he couldn't. He was in a lower class, and I think that really comes through in season 1, where he talks about Clark and Finn, about being, you know, in the rich class, and they're going to get looked after, and that's why we need to rise up against them. So as the years went on, he kind of got grinded down into the class system. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so we got one more over here, and then we're going to go all the way through that one, because it's... Okay, go ahead.
Hi, so if you could pick any show to be a crossover with the 100, which one would it be?
A crossover? I mean, does it have to be current, or can it be an old one?
Anyone.
I would love for, like, you know, Kramer to come sliding through a door, Seinfeld style. I would love to do that. Me and Richard, you know, plays Murphy, are like huge Seinfeld fans, and like, we'd love to do like a Seinfeld episode. Yeah, I just think that'd be a bit of fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just picturing Seinfeld doing jokes about Sky Crew.
Yeah.
Hi. More than an ask, I just kind of request. Do you know how much your fans like absolutely love you? I wanted to know.
I definitely feel like I'm really supported by them, and I mean, it's definitely overwhelming. In reference, there was like this e-online thing that happened, I think, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, that. And I was definitely like humbled by it, because I didn't think that. I mean, I know that our fans are like hugely passionate, and it was actually really cool to see like you guys all band together and, you know, win the thing. And it's not, I think for me, there was more, yeah, absolutely a testament to the fans, but it definitely made me feel really proud of the show and proud of like the people that support it. And yeah, no, it's kind of mind-blowing to think about, but it's really, really lovely. So thank you for watching the show and supporting it. Yeah.
Because I thought you absolutely deserved to know. I compiled a book. This one has pictures. No
oh, another book?
Yeah.
That's not I've gone to the
We're big readers in Ottawa.
I can't read though.
No, it's very simple. I compiled a book which everything in there I found online, and I thought you deserved to know absolutely how much fans appreciate and love you, and absolutely do anything for you.
Well, thank you very, very much. I appreciate it, and yeah, hopefully I can give back in some way.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, go ahead.
That's what she said.
Hey. So,
I too also didn't bring a book, but okay, so this kind of builds on two other questions that were already asked. But seeing as you previously said that on set, who you work with and all that, and all of them are like family to you for the duration of filming, and even onwards after. But over the course of the 4 years filming the 100, there have been characters that have come and gone. And I was wondering that personally, not as Bellamy, but personally, who you think the hardest goodbye was, without like saying spoilers or anything, but like, yeah, like who the hardest goodbye on set was.
I mean, you know, I always know that I'm going to see them outside of work, and you know, we'll catch up and all that kind of stuff. I think for me, and I think it came out episode 11, and if anyone hasn't seen the last episode,
I know what you're talking about if it's episode 11, so yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say without saying who it is, and I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but yeah. It's him. We live together, we definitely hang out a lot, and he's super busy. I just gotta say it, I'm sorry, because I feel weird about talking about, you know, Devin in third person. Devin and I are really close, and he's working his ass off at the moment. He just like did this film that's gonna come out, and he's like all around the world, so I'm gonna miss being able to just hang out with him and see him all the time, and not that we're not gonna see each other, it's just that, you know, he'll be working on his stuff, and it's probably that, because we definitely drew a lot from each other, and we worked really well together.
It's kind of interesting you said that, because my name is actually Devin as well.
Oh, Devin. Alright, Devin. There you are, you're right there. I thought you were in London.
But yeah, so yeah, thank you for answering that, and I'm sorry, I really didn't want to say any spoilers for the app.
Yeah, I'm sorry about doing that. I just felt really odd talking about like this imaginary person. But it's very much real.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Devin.
Nice meeting you.
All right, last one. Super quick.
Thanks so much.
Hey, so firstly, I just got back from Iceland like a month ago, so if you have a chance, you should definitely go, because it was awesome.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, but this question actually comes from my grandma, who's a huge fan of yours in the show as well. So she asks, obviously your character is written a certain way in the script, but is there anything or like anyone in specific that you use to draw inspiration from to play Bellamy?
Like a character that I try and model him on, or?
Yeah, like anything like inspiration-wise, like a character or a real person, or how do you get into it?
I mean, in a way, like I said, my brother's my inspiration. It's probably him. He's, the most devoted to family, and he's the best brother I could ever have. So, in a way, I'm very much like, I try and make Bellamy like my brother. My brother isn't that aggressive, mind you. He's actually a really nice guy, but he kind of brought me and my sisters up, and he looked after us quite a lot, and in a way, it's kind of like an ode to my brother, and that's probably who I draw the most from. But I also try and just play opposites of what's written on the page, and open that story up in a different way. So yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, last question. Go ahead.
I feel special. Last one.
You're all special.
Yay! So I was wondering, since it's very clear that you're like a dog person, because we obviously see you with Ellie all the time.
Yeah.
Would you ever like to see Bellamy like have a pet? Would it be cool? Like, if you could have a pet, what kind of pet would it be if it was like, radiation?
I think it'd be really cool if he became friends with Pownal, the gorilla, and would just ride him around. How cool would that be? Yeah, it'd be great to have a pet, but like even just working with horses is a pain in the ass, so yeah, I'm kind of happy not to have one. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a wonderful
Thank you guys, thanks for waiting.
Thank you guys so much, guys.